It is touted as the biggest discovery in human history, with revelations so groundbreaking, so staggering, with implications for all of us that they may prompt movement from the White House. Welcome, everyone, to this edition of We Are Not Alone. I'm your host, Meg A. Beal, our Chief Transportation Correspondent. Today, we're talking about what everybody is talking about, the monumental, groundbreaking film, The Age of Disclosure.
The American people are ready to receive the truth.
Humanity is not the only intelligence in the universe.
Humanity is not the only intelligent species.
We are absolutely not alone.
Non-human intelligence exists.
UAPs are real, they're here, and they're not human. I spent 25 years as a senior official with the CIA.
I've worked on highly classified UAP programs.
28 years as an astrophysicist.
I served as the 4th Director of National Intelligence.
Director of Aviation Security in the National Security Council.
A one-star admiral after 32 years of service.
People that come forward with this, I feel like they've taken their life in their own hands.
I was recruited to a highly sensitive government program that investigated unidentified aerial phenomenon.
For over 16 years, on behalf of the U.S. government, I worked as a senior intelligence official on the unidentified aerial phenomenon topic.
We learned that the U.S. government was involved in a long-running secret war with other nations to collect and reverse engineer vehicles not made by humans.
The Age of Disclosure, a film that's described as bone-chilling. Stephen Bassett joins us today. Stephen was the first and only lobbyist, UFO lobbyist, back in 1996. Today he's very well known as a disclosure activist. Stephen, we welcome you in because this is right up your alley. This is your life's work, disclosure. Yeah. So tell us how you feel about this. What is the impact? What can we expect? What's next?
We've been waiting for this doc for a long time. Over the years, I've talked frequently about the fact that the film industry, symbolized by Hollywood, which is pretty robust, has not engaged this issue as documentaries. They just wouldn't do it. And as a result, we made our own documentaries. And they weren't too bad. And over the years, the technology got better and easier. And there are dozens and hundreds, actually, of these documentaries out there were made by I will call the citizen activist, journalist, filmmaking, research community. Through those years, the government said there's nothing there. It's absolutely nothing there. And so you do the best you can under those circumstances. And so that started to change. Because of all the developments since 2017 in the legislation and the people that have come forward, an extraordinary amount of developments, Hollywood stepped in. A couple of years ago, one of the top A-listers in L.A., J.J. Abrams, put out a documentary series called Beyond UFO. Or was it UFO? It was just UFO. Sorry, just UFO. Not long after that, Steven Spielberg put out a documentary series, 4 parts, called Encounters. So this was a breakthrough. We knew that they realized in Hollywood that, this is the biggest topic ever. Let's make docs too. We've made hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars off of the science fiction films with ETs in them. So clearly the interest in documentaries would be pretty high. So they did that, but not the film yet. That came to us courtesy of Dan Hara. He is also a Hollywood guy, worked on big time pictures, got all the bells and whistles, agents and managers and whatever. And he got into this issue. I think he helped with some documentaries, some people in some of my colleagues, and then decided he would do a doc. And as a result, the Age of Disclosure was born. It's been in development, I think, for 3 years at least. And what happened is he, with all of his expertise in filmmaking, got together with Luis Elizondo, one of the key witnesses that came forward in 2017. And Lou helped him start to bring in the people that he would ideally like to have, because he obviously had those connections. And as one more would be added, others would be more comfortable. And so before it was done, they had 34. And I think there's 36 or 7 in the film. 34 witnesses, not just any witnesses. It's the most powerful assemblage of people of rank and station speaking to this issue ever put together. And it is groundbreaking for that reason. That is the power of this doc. So we have 3 senators. We have 4 sitting members of Congress, a 5th member of Congress that retired a while ago. And then, so that's 8. And then we've got military, Admiral Gallaudet, General Clapper, and so forth and so forth. At least 8 or 9 military people are involved. And you've got researchers from the early days of the development of this issue, such as Hal Puthoff, Eric Davis, and many others. And it just hammers these points home. Just about every key point, every key issue that was really relevant, certainly to the truth embargo, was brought up in this film. And so because Dan Farah is the real deal with the agents and the managers, the film goes into South by Southwest, a second largest film festival a year ago. And then as this film comes out, naturally he does Bill Maher, lead-in interview. Millions will see that. He does the after online overtime. Millions more will see that. The film comes out, 3 theaters, eligible for an Oscar nomination. That's a first. And then he does Joe Rogan for 2 hours. So this is what we've been waiting for a long time. And Dan Farah has provided it along with Lou Elizondo and everybody in that film. This may be the thing that finally ends the truth embargo. Right.
So I was going to ask you, is this what you've been waiting for and dreaming for and working for really all of your life? Are you satisfied with this? And do you feel it's going to make a difference?
Oh, yeah. The last 30 years, not my whole life. The last 30 years. Oh, it's going to make a difference. It is already making a difference. It's generating huge amounts of media. It is really, there's only one other piece I would like to see as part of this preparation would be the full UAP Disclosure Act passed.
Yeah.
The first half was passed a couple years ago, but they keep resubmitting the full act. We need that. But other than that, everything else is in place. The Congress has come forward. They're speaking out. They've held hearings and briefings. There has been a huge amount of media coverage, and we've had witnesses coming forward and so forth. So we're pretty much there. And I think this takes us there. Now, why is that important? Because the truth embargo can only end one way, by disclosure with a capital D, which is why I love the fact that disclosure is in the name of this film and in the name of the UAP Disclosure Act. Capital D disclosure, that's the term I came up with 20 years ago. And that's the formal confirmation of this presence, engaging the human race by the heads of state. The question is, which head of state goes first? And I can say now that really there is nothing preventing the President of the United States from stepping out tomorrow in the Oval Office and making a relatively brief announcement, maybe a little build up ahead of time. Biggest announcement of all time, going to happen 8 o'clock tonight, whatever. And simply say that I have done what is necessary to confirm what you have heard now repeatedly from people in government and also the private sector. We do have a technologically advanced non-human engagement. They do have craft. We have some of those craft. And you're going to know a lot more about that because we're going to be certainly holding hearings. There's going to be press conferences. And welcome to the new world. And that's it. That's all he has to do. He doesn't have to say anything else. Doesn't have to try to bring anything out. Just confirm that we are not alone.
Right. And Stephen, I think with Marco Rubio talking about this, that obviously the president knew about this documentary in advance of its release. And I assume Rubio had to get permission to speak about this. So do you think that the president has watched the film?
Oh, of course.
Of course. Even though I just read that he denies it, but you say of course.
He just read that he denies watching the film?
Well, up till now. I mean, who knows what happens today? But I think he said he hasn't seen it yet. According to reports, we don't know.
No, it may be the case. He's a busy man, but he is going to watch the film.
Yeah.
Obviously. And he's also going to be seeing the media that's going to be coming out about the film, a lot of media. All right. So again, and you ask the president a question like that, and they're always going to stay back, right? They want to engage it on their terms.
Right.
Something like this. So we'll see. But look, it doesn't take a lot of thought to understand that the president is the one that has to disclose, and the stage is set.
Yeah.
If he steps out tomorrow, there will be no jokes. I'm pretty sure there won't be any jokes. There'll be no political consequences. There'll probably be huge political benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a lock on a Nobel Prize. And if he does that, that will be his legacy. Hundreds, if not thousands of years from now, this moment will be remembered in history, whereas all the other stuff will be long forgotten. So this is an extraordinary opportunity. Obviously, I've mentioned this on many, many podcasts. It's coming up elsewhere. The platform is in place. The necessary things to make it appropriate and responsible are there. Now, the problem that our president has is that other nations have heads of states as well.
Right.
And one of them could come forward with and announce it. Maybe they'll provide some proof. Maybe there'll be a side presentation where they show what they've got in their files. And that president, that head of state, will be the disclosure head of state. And our president will be second. And there's no prizes for second. 0 prizes for second. And so
Steve, we are going to, don't want to interrupt you because of questions about if President Trump comes out with disclosure, what would be the economic impact on our country? Are we mentally and emotionally prepared for this? What will happen? So we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back on We Are Not Alone. Continue to stick around. Welcome back, everyone, to this edition of We Are Not Alone. We are discussing what everybody is discussing and talking about, the monumental documentary, The Age of Disclosure. Stephen Bassett joins us now, a very trusted voice and well-known disclosure activist. And we're talking about that we think possibly, very likely, President Trump is going to come out at any point and acknowledge that, yeah, there has been a cover-up for 80 years. We are in touch with aliens and alien technology. They've been on our planet. Stephen, is there a Cold War going on between the U.S. and Russia and China? Since apparently, according to the documentary, everyone has this information. Is there a race to reverse engineer these craft, this technology, so that we can use it against each other in warfare? Tell me about that.
it is assumed. There is a Cold War going on, even without ETs, but it is assumed that all of the nations that have vehicles and the wherewithal to study, re-engineer, are doing so. And because it's how we roll, they're going to weaponize whatever they have. Yeah. And so it's assumed that there could be, and has been, a extraterrestrial technology arms race, which is not good. And there's already a lot of very unpleasant things going on that should have us very worried. And the number one reason for that is that we know that antigravitics is part of ET technology. We see it all the time, and it's well understood in the sense that it's gone. And so if you could build an antigravitic craft, you have the ultimate first strike weapon. You can put a nuclear weapon on it, and you can zip it over a city. No way they can stop it before you even know. And they could take out a lot of facilities. First strike, got a huge advantage. It's the number one concern in terms of an accidental nuclear war. So we should be extremely worried if any of the major new countries, the major three being obviously Russia, China, and the United States, have actually achieved antigravitic drive. We think the United States has. We think that some of those craft are ours. So what does that mean if Russia and China do not have gotten that as far as we have? Then they understand we have a first strike weapon. So this is a consideration, and they brought it up. It is a legitimate concern, and one of the reasons why we need to end the truth embargo. because once the embargo is ended and people come out, we know what the countries have, they can openly engage the fact that we cannot weaponize this technology, or we need to de-weaponize what we've done and back off. We're already at the brink of nuclear war anyway. And also consider the possibilities of maybe adjusting our behavior in the post-disclosure world. I mean, everything is at stake at this point. And right now, the number one issue at hand is, can we end the truth embargo? And then the next issue will be, how quickly can we get the information out of what is in our possession? Will the other nations follow that are key? And then where do we go from there in the post-disclosure world? So that's what's happening. I mean, it doesn't get bigger than this.
Right. Well, Stephen, are there any guardrails in place in the ET technology? I mean, we've had so much advancement in technology these past 80 years. We know we've had help from some other source. So if the ETs are more intelligent and advanced than we are, which it appears to be, are they going to protect us from destroying ourselves? Or are they afraid we're going to use the weapons against them? What is the global and universal impact of this?
in like 60 seconds or less, let's go there. Look, I don't think the ETs, I can't count on the ETs, quote, saving us from ourselves. I do believe open contact will follow disclosure in a short amount of time, and we may be able to have an engagement with them that could be very helpful to dealing with our issues. All right. Beyond that, I don't know. If they've engaged us privately, governments privately, that is possible. These are things we all need to know. We need to know the particulars about this. We weaponize everything. We weaponize telepathy. When we discovered that they were telepathic, that's of course with Roswell and other crashes that we've had live beings. We learned that the mind is capable of a lot more than we thought, because people could be telepathically engaged. They could receive the messages, and the ETs could read their minds. So they started studying that. Huge programs, which have started to leak out. And naturally, they want to weaponize it. Weaponize telepathy, weaponize remote viewing, which I believe is valid. And other aspects we now call psionics. So weaponizing psionics, weaponizing the craft, weaponizing the tech, this is what we do. And we've already got enough of our own weapons to destroy pretty much everything we care about. So what is really going on here is less about this tech, that tech. It's about, we have to have a major transition in the way we think and the way we conduct our affairs. The ETs seem to want that. That's why they turn our weapons off. That's why they give messages to contactees and school children. So there's that in and of itself is pretty interesting. So ultimately, ending the truth embargo is not just about maybe going into space or having interstellar technology at some point. It's about an opportunity to reassess how we conduct our affairs on this planet, because we've pushed everything to the limit, and we may have the good fortune of extraterrestrial assistance in a post-disclosure, open contact era. This is what I'm looking forward to, and we need to find that out. Right now, we're very close, but we need one head of state to make the first move. And as far as I'm concerned, it's on the president's plate. All he has to do is pick it up.
Steve, who or what is controlling the narrative? So I know folks like Luis Elizondo, he tells us what he can tell us, what he's allowed to tell us. Who controls that?
Look, there is a management group that manages the truth embargo, which is the classification and how they're going to keep it from the public and all that kind of stuff. There's another group of managers that manage the technology and other scientific and engineering developments. A lot of that is they're operating out of the defense contractors. Mm-hmm. And that's it. That's what they do. You know, they get called names, cabal, deep state, whatever. No, they're managers that are managing that program with serious intent. All right. And what's going on now is people who are not them, but know about them, and a few that have kind of worked close to this issue inside, are coming forward to give you information legally under the proper arrangements. In other words, they're not violating almost no instances. They're not violating their NDAs and so forth because, and this is the most important thing you're going to hear from me today, what is going on is not, they're going to come tell us everything. That the people that are testifying in Congress are going to give us all the good stuff. And the people in this film are going to tell us everything. They're going to violate their clearances, whatever, going to get it to us. That's not what's going on. Everything that has happened in the last 7 years, and particularly the last 3, in terms of hearings that were held, legislation that was passed, statements from Congress, and of course, the things said in this movie, is not about getting the stuff out. It's about setting the stage for the president to disclose, to announce that the non-human presence. Then in the post-disclosure world is where we start getting that stuff. And so people are all upset because the people in the film and the hearings, they're not giving, we want the ETs, give us all. And they don't understand. That's my job, is to explain that to them. There is a process, and it's being done responsibly. They're not breaking their security clearances. If they can't go there, they say, I can't go there, right? If they write something, it goes through an organization called Dobster, which will remove anything that's not appropriate and allow other stuff to go through, which is quite a bit. They're trying to do it responsibly and by the law. Now, everybody would like them to break the law and do it irresponsibly, but that's not going to happen. But we're so close, and they've got us there. Then we get disclosure from the president, and then the UAP Disclosure Act will be passed, you can bet. And the whole process that will bring it all out to us in 6 or 7 years, I think it'll be sooner than that. They think that 6 or 7, everything will ultimately come out. We'll know the tech, we'll know the history, we'll know what the government knows, the research, whatever. With very few exceptions, there might be a couple of things, but overall it's all going to come out. And one of the reasons is other nations are going to join in right away. Other heads of state will back up the president. Some people were not going to believe it. They'll go, I don't believe what you're saying. And then several other heads of state within the next week come up and say, oh yes, that's true, right? We've deferred to the U.S. We have our own evidence. Then it's like, it's a done deal. And then we move forward in the post-disclosure world. That is what is going on. And I see that as an activist, right? And not a researcher. The researchers are interested in what the research is, right? I get that. Contactees obviously want to see disclosure because they want to be able to tell their stories. I'm focused, and as some of my colleagues like Danny Sheehan is, I'm focused on the overall process, where it's going, and what is the ET agenda. And there are a lot of clues to the ET agenda. Turning off our nukes, okay? Crop circles every year in the same fields, and information they give to contactees, to school children that are out playing. We have some information that gives us a sense of this agenda, and the agenda seems to be good.
Okay, well, I'm glad it seems to be good. We've got to take a break. We're going to wrap up, but we have a few more things we need to talk about. What people need to know: do we need to be afraid? Are we emotionally ready for this? What about economically? Because when the whole world runs on money, it's all that matters. We're going to talk about that when we come back. Stay with us, and We Are Not Alone continues. Welcome back, everyone, to this edition of We Are Not Alone. We're talking about the monumental, groundbreaking documentary, The Age of Disclosure. Stephen Bassett joins us with his very well-known, respected disclosure activist. He's in his element right now as we talk about disclosure. And we're so close to it now, according to Stephen. Stephen, in my job with We Are Not Alone, talking to different people and contactees, I work with associates. We all have to have open minds, and we do have open minds as journalists. And one of my fellow journalists said to me, because he kind of laughs when I talk about this, he said, look, we can't do anything about it anyway if this is real. Can't do anything about it anyway, so forget about it. I don't need to think about it. What do you say to people like that?
He's not looking at the whole issue. He's not considering the nuclear arms race, which threatens everybody on the planet. The fact that ETs have turned them off. He's not taking into account that we got up to 8.3 billion people from 1 billion in just 100 years, and the planet's still the same size. We're pushing all the limits. We're pushing the environment. People are losing faith that there's a future. Gen Zs are not having children. We have to have a major change. And the ETs, I think, understand that. And they are actually facilitating us getting able to reconsider and have a worldview change. Disclosure triggers that worldview change. So it is much bigger than they're here, not here. They're here for a reason. They're doing things. There's an agenda. We need to know that agenda. And I have a feeling the government may know more about that than we do. But I hope they do, and I hope they've got it right. But until we're all on board, we can't be certain that this is going to go well. But I mean all on board. We're talking about all 8 billion people are going to learn this in a fairly short amount of time.
So what's going to happen, Steve? I mean, what if people freak out? Are people ready to hear this?
We've managed to live under a nuclear threat, a mutual assured destruction for our entire lives, knowing that a missile could arrive at any moment. We handled that. We've handled pandemics. We've handled multiple wars, right? We've been through quite a lot as a species. We've now seen hundreds of millions of people have seen, maybe billions, have seen sci-fi movies, trillions of views overall, with ETs in them of every type. We've flown through space with CGI. We're going to be just fine.
Okay. I should say, too, that you are the co-founder of the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance, making sure that journalists like myself and movie makers and producers get the right information from contactees and researchers and activists like you. This is your time for the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance and the Paradigm Group that you're part of. What's the most important thing all these years, the last 30 years you've been involved in this? What's the most important thing you have learned that you want us to know as you close us out?
Boy.
It's tough, I know.
I've come to understand, I believe, the fundamental reason why we're having this modern contact, 80 years, and that is highly significant. The ETs, I call them ETs, I think have our best interests at heart. And I expect to see an extraordinary series of events take place in a short amount of time that may change the world forever. What can I say? What are the odds of being born into that? Well, we got it. It's ours. Let's enjoy it. That's what I've learned. And that's why I want to stay with this issue until the very end.
Well, you're doing what you're on the earth to do. We're all part of this journey. Thank you for the optimism. I feel optimism in what you just said. We have to be brave. We have to evolve. Stephen Bassett, thank you so much for joining us. We're hanging on. We're staying tuned to what's next. And thank you, everyone out there, for joining us on this edition of We Are Not Alone. I'm May K. Beeler, Queen City News Plus. We'll see you next time.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.